Welcome back to the third episode of the Alec Frengos Show. This is a sports podcast centered around NBA and NFL. And today we're going to be going over the NBA Finals, Team World versus Team USA basketball. Is the Golden State Warriors dynasty over? Who had the best NFL offseason? LeBron James and Kyrie reunion, and much more. I'm joined with Jay Price to my right, and I'm joined with Joey Price to my left. And the first thing we're going to be going over is the NBA Finals reaction. At this current time, it's 1-1, going back to Miami for Game 3. And I'm going to start with you, Joey. What did you think of the first couple games?
So in Game 2, I really liked how Eric Spoelstra really adjusted to the Nuggets' offense. So they started Kevin Love, and it gave the Heat more leadership on the court, more of a veteran presence, and it actually allowed Butler to guard Murray, which he did a very good job
100%.
of. And the Heat, they know that no one can stop Jokic, so they know that the person to stop on the Nuggets is Jamal Murray.
Correct.
I really like the Heat's aggressiveness because if they lost Game 2, going down 2-0 to Denver could be very bad.
Yep.
And I think this series will go back to Denver 2-2.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to stick with my prediction with Denver winning in 6.
Jay, what do you make of the first two games?
Well, first game, I just thought the Nuggets kind of dominated, honestly. Second game, I thought the Heat came out a lot better. They played with a lot of pace, and they played with a lot of aggressiveness on defense. And they kind of made Jokic score the ball instead of pass the ball. And I think it kind of knocked the Nuggets out of a rhythm because Porter Jr. didn't do anything in Game 2, and obviously, like you said, Chunk Murray basically didn't do anything either. So when you make Jokic a score and don't allow him to pass the ball to his other secondary ball handlers and scorers, it's hard for the Nuggets offense to get going, and I think Miami did a really good job of that.
Yeah, so I'm still going to stay with my prediction, Miami in 7. I think I feel pretty comfortable going back to Miami now for the first two games, split or not. I feel like the what put Miami over the top yesterday was their physicality on defense. Like you said, Eric Spoelstra's way to adjust to Denver's offense. But your point is, I think you said it perfectly. They know that you can't stop Jokic, so you're going to take everyone else around them, and you're going to try to stop them instead. Yeah. You're going to make Jokic score 40 points a game and them win when Murray can only score
He didn't even get 20.
15, 20. That's what you got to hold them to. And I feel like, which I said, Kevin Love, who was my X factor going into the finals, he came into the starting lineup. Almost 10 rebounds. He made a couple threes, some big outlet passes. And once again, the reason I had the Heat winning the series was their key role players stepping up in pivotal times. Duncan Robinson in the fourth quarter alone, 4 for 5 from the field, 2 for 3 from three-point range. Gabe Vincent, 23 points and 4 3-pointers. Max Strus in the first quarter after going 0 for 9. 12 points, 4 3-pointers right out of the gate. He was just throwing shots up left and right. That's what you want to see from people that are having slumps. You want them to come out with more confidence each and every game. And right now for the Miami Heat, I think the complete difference factor is Bam Adebayo. He has been their best player, where everyone thought going into the series Jokic was just going to dominate him on both sides of the floor. That hasn't been the case so far. Bam Adebayo has held his own. Obviously, Jokic has been the way better player. But I think him playing very good right now at a high level is really helping the Heat contend. Because if he's a no-show, these two games aren't close like Game 1 wasn't close. And another point I want to add in, the Heat are they're going to get better next game. Tyler Hero's coming back. He's their third best player, in my opinion, when healthy. Yeah. Saying he's healthy, it's going to take him a couple games to get his feet back. But I think that him coming back, I think the Heat are looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, they are in a good position right now.
I mean, I don't know. From what I watched, I don't see the Heat playing any better than they did, and they only won by 3 points.
Okay.
Realistically, I think they basically have to play a perfect game to win, and the Nuggets have to beat themselves like they did kind of last night. Like Murray didn't get going till late, and Porter Jr. only had 5 points, and they lost by 3. So your 2 of your 3 best players didn't do much. I mean, Murray also had 18 and 10, but lots of those were late shots.
Yep.
But still, he's got to get it going earlier, and I think they'll be fine. Honestly, I think the Nuggets will be fine.
And also, like, after Murray, he missed that step back 3.
Yep.
To win it. Jokic was open, but he didn't even really react as, like, it was a big deal. Like, Denver's still confident, and I still think they are going to win the series.
Adding to that, actually, do you think that they didn't seem like it was a big deal? Do you feel like that had to do with Michael Malone not calling a timeout? Do you feel like he just said, I'm going to put the ball in our best shot creator's hands and just whatever happens?
I think it was the right decision not to call a timeout, because then you allow the Heat to get their best defenders in the game.
That's exactly why I think he didn't do it, because right now where Michael Malone has been outcoached is when off timeouts, when Eric Spoelstra was able to set up a defense, it would result in a turnover or a very highly contested shot. That's why I think no timeout was a very good decision, because it would have let Eric Spoelstra, who I think is probably a top 3-5 coach in the NBA, get his defense set and have a plan for what was probably coming, which would have been a Murray 3 or a Jokic pick and pop. One of the two. What do you think? What do you think about the timeout call?
Well, I think it was the right decision too, but honestly, for kind of the same and a different reason, I would say, I think that, the Heat or the Nuggets were down, I think 10 with 5 minutes left, and they battled their way back. They had all the momentum on their side. I think if they called that timeout, and they would have just started overthinking it. Honestly, I think like Murray made a 3 right before that, like a really tough shot from deep. I mean, why not give him another chance to shoot? And he just rimmed out. It's unlucky, but I mean, in my opinion, that was the right decision by Mike Malone.
All right, going into the next topic. Do you guys think the Golden State Warriors dynasty is over? And if you say yes or no, I want you to know what their ceiling is currently with this roster. I'm going to let you go first, Jay.
In terms of the Warriors dynasty, I do still think they'll be a good team. I mean, as long as Curry's on that team, they got the foundational pieces. Draymond's still there. Clay's still there.
Yep.
Although I don't think Clay was very good in the playoffs,
Nope.
at least this last season. But they're definitely still a playoff team. But getting out of the first round for them now, I think is going to be challenging with your best 3 players aging. And a team that we thought had a lot of young talent coming in, James Wiseman, a couple of other draft picks that they had. Those guys haven't really developed as much as you'd like them to.
No, they haven't.
So outside of those 3 guys, you don't have much to work with. You got an aging core. I think, like, in terms of a dynasty, it's hard to say because, I mean, it depends what we're saying a dynasty is. I do think they're definitely still a playoff team.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they're top 5 in the West going into next year, but I think they could definitely sneak in those bottom 3 seeds for sure. At bottom, like, their floor for me, if all their guys are healthy, is the play-in game. But I do still think they're a good team. In terms of the dynasty being over, I'd probably say I'm leaning towards yes.
Okay.
Well, I think the Warriors, like, core players, I feel like they still have a lot left to offer.
Yeah.
Like Jay said, until Curry leaves or until he retires, because he will be a Warrior forever.
Yeah.
They'll always be in playoff contention. They'll
100%.
always have a chance. Like we saw in Game 7 this year, he dropped 50. And I like how the Warriors are built because they have young talent, and then they have, like, the veterans that can help them grow.
Exactly.
But, like, next season I want to see more from Kuminga, Moody, and especially Jordan Poole. If that guy, he really needs to figure it out. And, yeah, I'd still think they'll be a good playoff team, like a 5 seed next year. And I think they could make the conference finals.
Okay. So I believe that the Warriors dynasty obviously isn't over. And I think some key reasons to this is the foundation they have. I think as it doesn't matter if Clay has taken a step down in the previous years, obviously. Draymond Green obviously isn't what he used to be, but he still plays at a pretty high level, I believe. But I think having those three always together around whoever they have is just the DNA of the team. It won't go away from being a contender.
Yeah.
I feel like in all around they'll be in the mix until Steph Curry officially runs out. I think he is obviously the core piece, like you said.
Yeah.
You need him to even go anywhere with this team. But I feel like to help the Warriors get over the top in the next couple of seasons, they're going to need guys that they lost, like Otto Porter, Bielitsa, etc. Some veterans that come in on cheap deals that are able to play at a higher level because they're surrounded by these types of players and organizations. And I feel like if the Warriors, if whoever their new GM when he comes in, I feel like if he wants to win, Jordan Poole will be traded. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. If you were to see if Jordan Poole were to be traded, who is someone you feel like would fit the Golden State Warriors pretty well? I'll go first. I'm going to say they're my top two teams, but I'm going to say Pascal Siakam. They need another guy now that Clay's starting to run out. They need another guy that you can give the ball to, and they'll create their own shot. Siakam, he could catch it in the post and take some pressure off of Stephen Curry, who's been double-teamed, blitzed, and sometimes Klay Thompson has been wide open in the last year because they're not afraid that he's going to make every single shot you give him. I think that adding a second scorer is very important for the Warriors. So what would you like if Jordan Poole were to get traded? Who would be someone you'd feel like they'd need to add to get them over the top?
Get them over the top.
I'll go. I guess.
Right.
Well, I think the way their team is built, I think if they were to add somebody, they definitely need to add a forward.
Yeah.
So I think Siakam's a good pick. I'm gonna throw another name out there. I'd say Kyle Kuzma. He's
Ooh.
actually really stepped it up. I think he's a really good scorer. He's really upped his game in the scoring department this year for Washington. I do think I could see Washington doing it too because they're kind of in no man's land right now. They've never been bad. They've never been good.
Someone with some upside.
Yeah, and he's a great scorer. Like I don't know. I think Washington has to figure out what they're doing right now because they're kind of on that bubble of the playoffs where they're not going to be good enough to do anything in the playoffs,
Nope.
but they're not going to be bad enough to get a franchise-changing player. So I think for both sides, it could be a really good deal, and I would like to see Kuzma be on a team that actually has like some sort of
Talent.
playoff implications and a team that's actually successful.
Give me a name that if Jordan Poole were to be shipped away, what do you think
Well,
would be a good fit?
I think a guy that could help the Warriors a lot is Lou Dort.
Okay.
Provide some good defense because the Warriors, they do give up a lot of points.
Yeah.
But I think where they really messed up is not developing Wiseman because I feel
that
like
was their missing piece.
that was the
Dominant
guy. That was the
center.
guy for him. But
Yeah.
they really just didn't know how he would fit in the
Yeah.
puzzle. Which
So you're looking more defensively for the Warriors.
Yes.
I'm kind of looking at another guy that will be able to stretch the floor, help space, which they really struggled with against the Lakers, finding guys to come in and stretch the floor. But also I feel like they'll need another guy to help lock down on defense. So Curry could be on the off man now as he's getting older and get some rest, I feel like, on the defensive end,
I
honestly.
actually like that pick, Lou Dort, because he's a great three-point shooter. He's good off ball because they already have Curry's got the ball most of the time. Clay also handles the ball. He doesn't need the ball, but he's what they need. He'll stretch the floor, and he's a really good defender.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually
100%.
a really good name that they could add for sure.
All right, so we're going to go into a hypothetical here. Team World versus Team USA in basketball. So I'm going to give you guys some names, and I want you to tell me if this were to be a game, what team you're going with.
Is it a
All right.
series or is it just one?
Just one game.
Just
one
the game.
off? Okay.
Just the game.
Okay.
For Team World, I have Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, Pascal Siakam, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
For Team USA, I have Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Jason Tatum, Damian Lillard, and Devin Booker. So I want you guys to tell me who would win if this was a game.
I feel like USA, they've all kind of played together at some point. Well, not all of them, but
most.
Yeah, most of them. I feel like they know how to work together, but I feel like Team World would actually take this game seriously.
Yeah.
Like I've heard some Doncic and Giannis even said that he thinks that Team World would win this game, but I would go with Team World just thinking about it. Like if it was in the off season, I feel like all those guys would be more bought in.
Yeah. Who do you think?
I would take Team World, honestly. I mean, they got the 3 best players in the NBA on one team.
Yeah.
Embiid, Jokic, and Giannis.
Yeah.
It would be hard for them to cover, like, if they had Jokic and Embiid in the game at the same time, that'd be kind of hard to play defense, especially when you have, like, elite, like, wing players that they're going up against. But, like, realistically, no one on team... What's even the best center from USA? I guess Anthony Davis.
I have your AD, Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, like no one's holding both those guys at the same time.
I think if they played, it would not be close in my
think the
opinion.
world would
I don't
kill
think
them,
it would be close because
to be honest.
there's not a lot of matchups here. You have Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid with Doncic, Siakam, SGA, and then like there's no like legitimate size on Team USA. Curry, Tatum, Dame, Booker, LeBron, KD. I feel like if this was an actual game, Team World would win. But I also think that Team World does have the better players.
Yeah.
All around. I think they do. Obviously, USA has much deeper players as you go here. If there was reserves, Markkanen, Porzingis, Gobert, Sabonis, Jamal Murray versus Kyrie, Mitchell, Fox, Butler, DeRozan, I'd go with Team USA there.
Yeah.
I think they've obviously got more depth. But do you think they should implement this in the All-Star game? Because all these top 6, 7 guys are all All-Stars. So would you like to see this in the All-Star game?
Instead of the All-Star game? Or
Yeah, just Team World versus Team USA
instead
for
of
the
actual,
All-Star.
Yeah.
Because they're all pretty much All-Stars every year. So would you like to
Yeah.
see that a game instead of a draft?
I mean, it would be more interesting, I'd feel like.
I think so.
They'd play kind of for their country, I guess.
And I think a lot of the European guys have some chemistry, even though they've not played with each other. I've just seen in previous games, Jokic and Giannis and Luka are all friends. So I feel like this would be very interesting to see in the All-Star game. But I think it would be good for fans to see that it's not just USA that really runs the NBA as the dominant players. As guys like KD, LeBron, and Curry start to get out of the league, it's really focusing towards Doncic, Giannis, Jokic, and Embiid. They're all the younger guys too.
Yeah.
So I think that's very interesting in a way to put it as a
sure.
hypothetical. Going into the next topic, we're going to talk about who had the best NFL offseason. And I'm going to start with you, Jay. Who do you think had the best offseason?
So I have a couple teams that I was thinking. I'll just go with one. This also had to do with like one of my favorite drafts.
Okay.
I think a team that has a lot of young talent and I think they surrounded it well on both sides of the ball. I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously being in the AFC is gonna be really tough for them. So many good teams, even within the division. Every team in that division realistically could win a playoff game, I think.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough, but I think what they did to surround Pickett with talent, adding Broderick Jones, obviously, and then you get year 2 George Pickens. They got Deontay Johnson as well.
Allen Robinson,
yeah. I think they did a really good job of shoring up the O-line. I think they added a couple guys in free agency too.
Yep.
Yeah,
to play
Isaac Sumo.
Yeah, to play on the
Patrick
inside.
Peterson.
Yeah. I think that they did a really good job of setting him up for success next year. And I think their offense could definitely take a leap. But even looking on the other side of the ball, they got Joey Porter Jr., who I really liked, and Keanu Benton was one of my favorite prospects too. I think they did a really good job of adding young guys to be mentored by the older guys. Cam Hayward's obviously getting older. I think he'll be a great mentor for Benton. I just think the Steelers did everything they needed to do to make sure they're still competitive when it seemed like they were kind of falling off to the bottom of the division.
Exactly.
And now I think they're still in contention there with all those teams, Cincy obviously, and then the Ravens getting Lamar back and the Browns.
So let me ask you, Jay, what is the Pittsburgh Steelers ceiling for you at the moment?
Ceiling? I think realistically, like, there's a lot of toss-up games. I think they could, but it depends how Pickett plays, obviously, but I think they could get 10 wins, maybe 11.
So do you see them in the playoffs? Like, as your ceiling, do you see them being a playoff team?
Yeah, for sure. I think they could definitely. I think honestly, potentially they could win the division, but I'm still taking Cincy to win it. But I think they had a very good offseason, and I think that if Pickett takes that jump to even being a top 10, if he's a top like 12 guy next year, they could potentially win the division, and I think they'll make the wild card.
I think their ceiling is 10 wins and second in the division, but I don't even know if that would cut it in the AFC North.
Yeah.
But I don't trust Kenny Pickett to win me a playoff game.
Oh,
especially going on the road. I don't think he could do it. But my team for the best offseason, I hate giving this team credit, but it is the Lions, sadly. So they signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Emmanuel Mosley, Cam Sutton, and then David Montgomery. And then they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch, and Hendon Hooker. So they added talent at their weakest position for many years, which is a secondary, adding a good safety in Gardner-Johnson, 2 outside corners, then Brian Branch in the slot, which he will be a top 5 nickel in the NFL.
Wow. Okay.
And
so, do you think the Lions getting those secondary pieces, specifically corner, is enough
to win a playoff game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll win a playoff game this year.
With that secondary?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So before I go on to mine, what was your favorite move for both of those teams you just suggested?
For the Steelers?
Steelers, what was your favorite move?
Honestly, now that you mention it, I'd probably say Suamalu. I think he's a really good veteran on the O-line, and I think he'll really help sturdy up that O-line, honestly.
Okay. What was your favorite Lions move?
I'd say signing C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Gotta be.
But he probably will be there for just
He's not
1
there
year.
Next year. No.
Yeah, just because he wants to get his value up even more to probably be the highest paid safety in the league. But he's just going to add a veteran presence in the safety room.
Yeah.
So my favorite NFL offseason winner, I don't want to say it at all, but it is the Miami Dolphins. This team just got Jalen Ramsey for some chump change. They got him for absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Hunter Long in a fourth round pick?
Third, yeah.
It's just that trade isn't fair, and their draft, I loved it. Devin Achane coming in, he's going to be in the running back mix, probably be the running back one by the end of the year. And one of my favorite prospects in the whole draft, Cam Smith, falling to late round 2, I believe. And the Miami Dolphins snagging him, who will now be mentored by Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard. This Dolphins team, I think they're ready to contend this year. Just all depends on one thing, Tua Tagovailoa.
Yep.
All depends on his health. They have Vic Fangio, top-tier defensive coordinator, Mike McDaniel, one of the best play callers in the NFL, one of the best offensive masterminds in the NFL. And they have the personnel everywhere. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, receiver, Mostert, Jeff Wilson, and Achane in the backfield. They have guys buried in the depth chart at wide receiver like Braxton Berrios, who can provide yards and stats. Chosen Anderson, he'll be a downfield guy for them, and they've just got a ton of guys. Did they draft a tight end?
Maybe
They
late.
might have. Late. I don't know who it was. Let me see.
But yeah, I feel like the Miami Dolphins, I think their ceiling this year is an AFC championship appearance. I don't see them going to the Super Bowl, but I see them getting to the AFC championship. I think they could be one of the 2 top teams in the mix with the Chiefs, Bengals, Chargers, Bills, Jaguars, etc. I think they're definitely in the mix. Jets too.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's going to pan out how the division works. If they're going to get the home game as the division winners, if they're going to have to go on the road 2 or 3 games in a row. I think it depends, but I feel like the Miami Dolphins ceiling is an AFC Championship appearance.
Yeah.
And my favorite move was Cam Smith getting drafted to the Dolphins. So, talking about the Lions a little bit more, I think my favorite move by them was Hendon Hooker. I think getting him is big time for them. I think Jared Goff, obviously, you don't know, he's been to a Super Bowl before, but by one of the best defenses and a great play caller in Sean McVay, you don't know how long Ben Johnson's going to be there. Yeah, so you don't know if Jared Goff will be able to do it himself. I think Hendon Hooker absolutely has the ability to, if he has the right receivers, a good run game, he's got one of the best O-lines in the league. Mm-hmm. I think he has an ability to take a team pretty far in the playoffs. Win a Super Bowl, I'm not going to say that yet because he hasn't even played a snap in the NFL and he won't for another year. But I think that's a very, very good move by the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like it too because Goff's got 2 years left. It depends. Like, obviously, he had a really good year last year. I mean, I'm still a bit uncertain about him going forward. I do believe in him, obviously, as a fan of the team. But I think Hooker's an awesome backup plan. I think he's going to be he's in, like, the best situation possible.
Yep.
He is all the time in the world to heal up the ACL that he tore.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he has time to learn the playbook. Obviously, Ben Johnson's probably gone next year.
Yeah.
I think.
Most likely, yeah.
So, I mean, that'll be tough for them to lose him, but I think he's a great option going forward. Obviously, he's only 2 years younger than Goff, too, but, I mean, him stepping in, if they don't want to pay Goff, they got him on a rookie deal, and they could surround him with even more talent they need to. So I think that was an awesome pick, too, in the 3rd round.
And for my favorite move by the Steelers, I'm going to go with... I think I was debating between Broderick Jones and Patrick Peterson, but I'm going to go Patrick Peterson. I feel like he has been around the league and he knows what it's like. He knows what it's like to win and be successful as a top corner as he used to be. I feel like him mentoring Joey Porter is going to be a huge, huge thing for the Steelers. Mike Tomlin and Patrick Peterson in Joey Porter's ear, I think that's going to be very pivotal to his career going forward. And I feel like Joey Porter, with that type of coaching, will be a very high-end corner in the NFL.
Yeah.
What's your favorite move for the Steelers, Joey?
My favorite move, I think, would have to be Broderick Jones, just because Najee, he obviously had a big down year last year. And Broderick Jones, in my opinion, he was the best run tackle
for sure
in the draft.
He was a beast in college.
Yeah, he can really move. He can get out in space and block. And another pick I like is his teammate Darnell Washington.
Yes, forgot
just
that.
Adding him in there, just pulling across the offensive line.
Got him late too.
Creating holes in the defense. I think those 2 picks should really help Najee get going in year 3.
What did you want to touch on?
No, I think like adding on the O-lines, like I think that's so important. I already talked about Pickett and stuff, but having a good run game, that's so important for a QB's development. So they got Suamalu, Broderick Jones, and then Darnell Washington's basically a 6th lineman when they go into those more heavy packages.
Yep.
I think having a legit threat, like Najee will be legit threat this year in the run game. I think that'll open up a lot more in the pass game this year, and I think it will really help Pickett.
So, to end this segment off, what was your favorite Lions move, obviously, of your favorite team?
Yeah. For me, I mean, there's a lot of ways I could go with this, but I'm going to go with Cam Sutton. Honestly, I didn't know much about him until they picked him up, but like seeing his highlights from last year and seeing what he did with the Steelers, adding a veteran, like a legit veteran, which the Lions haven't had in their secondary in a number of years, he's going to step in as the number 1 corner, and I think he's going to do a solid job. And I think that was what held them back early in the season. They lost so many games where they were scoring 40 points and giving up 45. So I think adding that veteran in the secondary in a division with, Jefferson, DJ Moore now, and then there's some emerging guys in Green Bay too. But adding someone who can potentially hold them better than they have in years past, I think that'll be really important for the defense moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, getting into the next topic, which just came up actually this morning. Kyrie Irving has been reportedly trying to recruit LeBron James to the Dallas Mavericks. So I want to hear from you guys what you think about this. And Kyrie and LeBron have obviously played together before, but do you think it would be better off for LeBron and Kyrie to go to Dallas together or to go to LA together to play with the Lakers? I want to hear from you first, Joey.
Well, I don't think this should happen at all, but if I were to pick a team, it would be the Lakers. I mean, I feel like you can't just bring LeBron to Dallas. It's Luka's team. He needs the ball in his hands. But I don't know. What do you think?
I thought about this for a while, and I think the most most realistic and ideal thing to happen would be Kyrie Irving sign and trade to the Los Angeles Lakers for D'Angelo Russell to come off the bench in Dallas, maybe Vanderbilt, maybe a couple guys like that for Kyrie Irving, because I think LeBron James right now, it doesn't look like that he's very, very caring to win right now. It looks like he's wants to stay in LA, where Bronny, his son, is going to USC.
Yeah.
Right? He went close to home so his dad could go watch the games there. I feel like it's just more realistic to talk about Kyrie going to the Lakers than, which came out today, LeBron going to the Mavericks. I think that's very unrealistic because Doncic needs the ball in his hands to be effective. Yeah. Doncic is not an off-ball mover. Mm-hmm. He gets the ball and he scores. I feel like Kyrie and Doncic, the idea was cool, but it just didn't work.
Yeah.
They both need the ball to score, and I think that stint in Dallas for half a season, that won't stay. Kyrie Irving is not going back to Dallas with LeBron, let alone. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Mavs trading for Kyrie just wrecked their whole season.
They were the fourth seed and then fell out of the play-in.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't even make the play-in. I think Doncic, he's a really good player, but he cannot do anything off ball. And having him and Kyrie on the same team just obviously proved to not work out, having two very ball-dominant guys.
Yep.
I think they would have been better investing in a wing piece, somebody who can score the ball but doesn't need the ball in their hands all the time, and someone who can shoot, obviously. And yeah, in terms of LeBron, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's enjoying life right now. He's 38 now, 39. Yeah. He's got kids and some family, his family. He doesn't fucking care. He's not moving, I don't think.
Like you said, the only realistic option is Kyrie going to the Lakers. I mean, I don't even think he wants to play with Kyrie.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think Kyrie will he will never win another NBA championship.
Kyrie?
No? He's not bought in at all. He always has some excuse pop up every year.
Yeah. He's always a liability to his team when they need him the most, too, whether it's a minor injury, personal stuff, he's saying something on Twitter, all that stuff. Yeah, I feel like Kyrie and LeBron, I feel like it was obviously a very fun duo to watch before, but now there's too many complications. Yeah. LeBron with his family and living in LA and his son local, Kyrie personal. This never happened when they were with the Cavs. They just all they wanted to do was play basketball and win.
Yeah.
Which is why I feel like this is just news for the bored people out there.
It's just news just to fill up time in the sports.
Exactly. And so we're going to get into our last topic of the day. With this player rumored to be bought out / traded / released, we're going to do Would You Rather Delvin Cook. And I've got a couple names here, and we're going to go through them. We're going to say the names, then we're going to say why we think.
Okay.
First name up, Aaron Jones.
I'm going to take Aaron Jones.
Same.
going Aaron Jones as well. I think he's the better pass catcher. I think Dalvin Cook lost a little bit of his explosiveness, and he is a little bit injury prone. Next name, Joe Mixon.
I'm going Dalvin Cook.
Joe Mixon isn't guilty, then I'll take Joe Mixon.
Okay.
I'm like Joe Mixon's number one hater, but I'd probably still take Joe Mixon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go Dalvin Cook. I think he's better than Joe Mixon personally. Why do you think?
Well, I just like when I watch him play, Dalvin Cook just lost like a lot of explosiveness from last year. Watching their games with the Lions, like the divisional games, he lost so much explosiveness, and I think he fumbled like a key fumble to make them lose that one game on the goal line.
Okay.
Versus the Lions too. So.
What do you think? What do you think sets Dalvin Cook over Joe Mixon?
I just feel like he brings a little more speed to the offense.
Yes.
I feel like he's more of a star running back than Joe Mixon. He's kind of just like a roll running back.
Yeah.
They'll punch into the end zone.
Yeah.
I mean, he did have that one big game, but other than that, he didn't do too much last season. I mean, Dalvin Cook, he had some big time runs last year.
The Colts one pops
against
up.
The Colts?
That just pops up in my head every time.
And then he had that long run against Buffalo.
Yes.
I think he took one of the hosts versus Miami too.
Yeah.
Like 75
He just did a
yards.
lot more than Joe Mixon.
Yeah, like me saying he's lost all of explosiveness is wrong, but like Dalvin Cook in like 2018, 19,
Yeah.
that's the Dalvin Cook, like
Even last year he was a lot better.
a beast. So next name, Ramondre Stevenson. I'm going to go to you, Jay.
I would say Ramondre Stevenson. I think youth's
Same
super
here.
important.
I'm going to go Ramondre Stevenson. He's only getting better, I feel like,
Yeah.
right now. And Dalvin Cook's trending down, but going into next year, I'd definitely take Ramondre Stevenson over Dalvin Cook. Next name, it's kind of a tricky one. Breece Hall.
Breece Hall.
Breece Hall. 100%.
Currently over Dalvin Cook?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm going to go Dalvin Cook. I just think that Breece Hall coming off the ACL, I believe, I think it's going to make him lose a lot of agility and speed. It's hard to come back from a running back facing a lot of contact in football. I'm going to go Dalvin Cook here. Next name. What you want to...
Well, I was just going to say he's still young in his first season. I don't think
He's gonna,
the
you don't
ACL is going to affect him too much. I mean, he was absolutely electric in the first, 7 weeks before he tore his ACL against Denver.
Yeah, very bad
Yeah.
field, by the way, in Denver.
And he was cooking the Broncos too.
He
Did the
was.
Jets win that game?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Damn.
Denver lost every game.
Damn. Okay. Next name, Alvin Kamara. Go to you, Joey.
Oh, shit.
Want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first. What do you think about this one?
I'm taking Dalvin Cook. They're both very, very injury prone,
Yeah.
but I'm going to slightly go Dalvin Cook. Obviously, Kamara's an elite pass catcher, but I feel like Dalvin Cook can catch the pass a little bit better. No, not better, sorry. He can also catch the pass,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I feel like a pure runner, Dalvin Cook is better than
Yeah.
Kamara. I'm going to go to you, whoever
Well,
wants
I
to go.
think I'd go Kamara. I just feel like having a good pass catching back that you can rely on to get that first down.
Yep.
I feel like that's really valuable now that there's a lot of running back committees, a power back, and then what Kamara is a pass catching back. I mean, he has incredible contact balance. I just feel like he's the better player.
Yeah. It's hard for me to pick because I view them like very similar. Obviously, they do different things, but I'd take Kamara. I think in the new NFL, pass catching from a running back is so important. Being able to check down and them get like 10 yards instead of 5. Breaking tackles. I think Alvin Kamara does a really good job breaking tackles, as you said. That was the difference for me. I'd take Dalvin Cook as a pure runner, but take Kamara.
Okay. We're going to go to the next name. I don't think this one's really close. Austin Eckler, even though he does have a lot of stats. What are you going to go?
I'd go Dalvin Cook.
Really? I'll
Would-
take Eckler.
Over Eckler?
I'll take Eckler.
Eckler, okay.
I'm taking Dalvin Cook. Why do you think Eckler?
I'm taking Eckler over Dalvin Cook any day of the week.
What do you think? Why?
Fantasy
He was
points?
literally the yeah, I know, but I mean, it's come to the point where people think he's so overrated to the point where he's honestly almost underrated.
Eckler, one thing about him, though, maybe the O-line you want to say, he cannot run the ball.
Well, yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
red zone catch and run it in.
Yeah, but how many guys can you find in the league that can catch the ball at that level out of the backfield? Basically, nobody's better than him at that. Maybe CMC, but he was literally the reason why the Chargers' offense was good this year. Both their receivers were out for like half the year.
Okay.
And Herbert would throw him the ball, and he'd get like 20, 30
He
yards.
he was used a lot,
Yeah.
Eckler. But what do you get in on this? What do you think?
Well, I mean, Eckler is the reason they lost against Jacksonville in the playoffs.
Okay, well,
He's
Like-
the reason?
Well, you couldn't get a first down. All they needed was
Well, yeah.
a couple first downs to drain the clock.
When it got close, they needed
He
him to
couldn't
punch
do
it
it.
in. But
I
yeah,
mean,
he also couldn't run
he
the ball.
catches the ball a lot.
That's what his highlights are. That's why people think he's very good. I feel like it's
Yeah.
because you're obviously playing fantasy football and you're gonna like someone if they do good for you.
Yeah.
And two, he's only catching the ball in his, like, if you were to see Austin Eckler highlights and touchdowns, screens, checkdowns, Texas routes maybe. You don't really see the Austin Eckler run up the middle for 40 yards, 30 yards. You just don't see that. That's why I think Dalvin Cook is better.
He doesn't
than
even
Austin
have that
Eckler.
great speed either. Like, he's not very quick. or
No, he's
agile.
not. He's not.
well, I
He's
think
kind of like a guy that'll just go downhill and just.
no. In my opinion, it's much easier to add a guy that can run the ball up the middle than a guy that can catch at that. They literally, like, teams would scheme for him. It didn't really matter. He's just a fucking bowling ball. He just runs around, bounce off tackles. I think he does his job
He doesn't
really
break
well.
tackles like that.
Well, I don't know. I would take him over Cook.
Okay. So, next name, Travis Etienne.
I'll take Etienne.
Well, yeah, I'd go Etienne too.
I'd also go Etienne. I think it's same deal with Ramondre. I think they're going up right now, and
Yeah.
then Dalvin Cook's gonna trend down. He'll start to trend down. Next name, Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard.
Yeah, it's hard because he like broke his leg, but
Yeah, but
we'll see.
He
He'll
does
probably
what
be better.
Dalvin Cook's good at, but he does it better. He takes those runs to the house.
They're both in very, very, very explosive offenses, Dalvin Cook and Pollard. High scoring, high powered offenses, and they both put up the numbers. I'd like to see Pollard this year in a running back one role, which will
Yeah.
be interesting, especially coming off that big injury, like you said. But at the moment, I'm gonna take Dalvin Cook at the moment over Tony Pollard. For right now, it could actually be the complete opposite after next year, but going into this year, I think Dalvin Cook can still be better than Tony Pollard. And last name, Bijan Robinson.
I'm gonna take Bijan.
I think it's Bijan.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't think it's even really close.
He just lacks speed, but he has everything else better than Dalvin Cook.
I mean, it's hard to say because he's a rookie, but it literally happens every year where the rookie running backs are the best running backs in the league.
Yeah.
That is true.
Like Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall.
Mhm.
It wasn't even that good of a running back class that year too, because they were both second round picks, I think.
Yeah.
And they both went off. Like, it's just the young players are super explosive and stuff. I think Cook's.
Well, he's
kinda
also
lost a
in
bit
the
of that.
best rushing offense in the league.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Really good
But I don't
system.
think it'll be next year. Bijan, he'll put up. What I think he can put up 1,500 yards
Wow.
rushing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
So
it's
your
possible.
expectations for Bijan Robinson do you think he can be a top 5 running back in the league at the end of
I
next
expect him to be that next year. Yeah.
What do you expect
I think-
Bijan to be?
Being drafted that guy like that high, I would assume. I think so. I think he could.
Mhm.
Like, I think CMC, Chubb, Henry, and then Jacobs, and then I think he could maybe slide into that 5.
Like I think he's
Possible.
top 10 before he's even played a game.
So would
In
you
the
put him
league?
would you put him
Yeah.
over guys like Kenneth Walker already?
No, you can't.
Like
no,
stuff
I
like
wouldn't
that?
Put him over Walker
Well,
yet.
he will be
But he probably will be.
after you just watch him play. Like after he's in the league, a couple games played, he'll be. People see it.
We'll start getting the hype
Yeah.
over him. I feel like Arthur Smith is gonna have to rely on Bijan Robinson with Desmond Ridder as their current starting
Yeah,
quarterback,
he's-
or Taylor
yeah,
Heineke,
hot
whatever,
garbage.
flip flop. They're gonna need Bijan Robinson to do what you said, 1,500 yards rushing. He's going to have to get in the end zone for them.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Falcons last year, they ran the ball almost every play. It wasn't even fun to watch because they had Kyle Pitts was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a mess there. But who would I take right now, Cook or Bijan? I'd have to go Bijan Robinson. I think he's gonna be good next year. But I think Bijan Robinson is getting a little bit more hype than he should be. He hasn't played a game in the NFL, and his expectations are very, very high. Obviously, going into this type of offense.
Also, one thing I want to say is Tyler Algier had 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah,
and that was with Patterson basically taking the whole first half of the season load. Like I have it here. Algier only had 210 carries, Patterson 144, and then they also had Mariota running quarterback who ran it a lot, and Caleb Huntley had 76 rush attempts. So I think they'll probably give Bijan 250 runs. I still expect Algier to be part of the offense though. Yeah, I will say that, but I don't know. I think
Patterson's still in the Falcons, right?
I think so.
He won't be useful.
He might be a free agent.
He won't be useful anymore. He's already done his time.
I also don't know how Bijan, if he'll be used in the passing game.
I think he'll be used more in the pass game than people think he will.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's it for all of our topics, and we're gonna do a little prediction before we end off the episode. We're gonna go Madden 24 cover gets released Wednesday. Who's your prediction to land on the cover for this year's Madden? You want me to start?
Yeah, I gotta think.
Right here, Justin Jefferson, Offensive Player of the Year, one of the most popular players in the league currently. I think it's just perfectly matched for him to be on the cover this year. He's got a lot of hype around him. Him and Mahomes, probably the two most popular players in the league. I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson for my prediction.
I don't really have an answer prepared for this, but I saw today that Josh Allen, he was rumored. I mean,
would that be your pick?
Well, I'll say someone different.
Okay, go ahead.
And then DeMar Hamlin, maybe they give it to him, but he's not a superstar. You can't give it to him. And then my pick, I think it could be Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, that's a good one.
I think the NFL is really buying the hype from him.
What's your prediction?
I was gonna say Joe Burrow. Honestly, I think
he hasn't been on one yet.
So but maybe he'll be the college.
Actually,
cover.
That's true.
That's why I don't
the new
think
NCAA game's coming out.
Okay.
So that's kind of tough, but I think I actually do really like Hurts. I think that would be a good.
So we've got Jefferson, Hurts, and Joe Burrow for our Madden 24 cover predictions, and that's gonna do it for the third episode of the Alec Frengos Show. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.